Good afternoon, everyone. This is Scott, and welcome to the weekly trade report video. Today is September 17th, 2017. So a couple things. Last week there was a hurricane that came through, and our house was basically in the eye of the storm. So we had some damage and just a lot of cleanup and debris and so forth. So I didn't do a video last week, but anyway, the house is all good to go now, and hurricane is gone. So second, I'm using TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim for my charting now. I'm switching brokers, trying them out, and just so if the charts are going to look a little different going forward. So I just want to let you guys see that. So let's get at it. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones here. You can see that the market is now at new highs. Okay, so the Dow is broken out and still looks pretty strong. Lots of strong sectors in the market, lots of strong breakouts, and some would argue it's a little bit extended, but we should, see some warnings with regards to that in the stock charts before the market rolls over, if that happens. But there's still plenty of good setups in many sectors. So the DIA looks good. SPY similar, broke out to new highs and looks like it's just kind of pulling back a little bit, but still very strong. IWM, the small cap ETF, back up here. It's not at new highs, but it's back up near the this area up here. So small caps looking strong. IBB, nice breakout in the IBB. The biotech sector has been really strong lately. You can see kind of put in a double bottom back here, pulled back to this say 305 area, double bottomed, and then just been rallying ever since then. And then it broke out to new highs, or I think it was like a 52-week high, and so now it's just been kind of bull flag pattern, just kind of sideways, and it looks like it's going higher. There's been a lot of breakouts in that sector, so we'll just keep an eye on the biotechs, but they still look really strong. Energy names, a lot of energy names are showing some strength. The oil, exploration, basically a lot of the oil names, oil companies have some strong reversal looking patterns. The XLE looks like it's trying to bottom out. There's a long-term trend. If this thing can get through the 67, I think that's a key level for a longer-term trend change in XLE. And similar, let's see here, USO, kind of a similar thing. It's got some resistance right around 1030, and I do think that oil in the energy sector is reversing here to the upside. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. Some of these beaten down energy names, some good opportunities there. HOS was a nice move on Friday. That was one that I was not in, that I traded earlier. Made some money on it, but it had a really nice move Friday, so I didn't hold long enough. But all right, take a couple look at some of the other names. Okay, so JKS. This one is a Chinese solar company, I believe, but it kind of had this bull flag type pattern. If you take a look, kind of like right in here, and so it kind of had this, after a big run up, this was what you could kind of see was creating like a bull flag, and then it broke down and then rallied right back up there to around 28 area, and it started to like kind of break out through this level. So I took a position because it kept grinding and it looked like it wanted to break. So I took a position at 29, and it did break, but you can see here on this candle, this wick right here, the high was 30. Okay, so that was a key area where it's finding a little bit of resistance, and so on this day when it couldn't break that 30, I cut my position, and the next day it broke through and then faded back below. So that's kind of a warning sign. Like if you guys are trading this and it breaks 30 and then it can't hold it and then falls back below it, then it's kind of a trigger to get out if you're on a shorter time frame. If you're swing trading it, it may be this thing, I would use this 28 level as a stop. If it can't hold that level, I'd get out. But I'll keep watching this one. But I made a nice trade, got in at 28, or 29, got out at 30, and I'm trying to get a little bit better at holding on to my gains because I have a tendency to, take a position and then it goes in my favor, and then I don't lock in the gains, and it reverses, and I give it back. So I'm trying to get a little bit better at that going forward. All right, so next one, take a look at Fold. So Fold is a really, really good looking setup. It's a very strong chart. It's been trending up for quite a while. You can see it's holding this key support line right there, and so this is a nice ascending triangle pattern. And you can see basically right there. Let's see, get used to using this software here. Let's see, drawing trend line. So we'll move, and basically I want to draw one right there, closest. So right there at 14, you can see it kind of tapped it after this big break, tapped it again 3 times. And then, as it was ramping up right here, it looked like it wanted to break, and it did temporarily, but then it faded back. I think they had some drug trial negative news, and then it ramped right back up. So this is a very good looking chart here. If we can get through 14, and I'm looking for first target at 15, and then next target 16. I think you can do 16 based on the depth of this pattern. So if we, kind of draw this as your base. Here's the lower end, and here's your breakout. So you got a 2.12 to 14. So I think this can do 16. So I've already entered a position in this one. I'm going to hold it and see if it can go as long as this pattern holds. So really like Fold. All right. So real quick, I also wanted to talk about some of these Canadian marijuana stocks. These things, they've been dead, recently. The domestic names are all in the crapper still. There's no real good looking patterns there. But these Canadian names, which I think Canada is legalizing marijuana here next year. But a lot of these are showing some really strong reversals here. And this PRMCF, it's not this one. I think it trades 80,000 shares a day. But I'm looking at this chart here, and this is a nice ascending triangle. This PRMCF sitting right at a 2 breakout level. So I really think this PRMCF could go Monday. So that's a nice looking one. Another one is this ACBFF. Let's see, that chart's a little bit distorted because of this wick, this bad tick here, so it messed it up. But if you're looking at the chart, yeah, basically right there, you can see I was trying to break out. This ACBFF looks good. APHQF, another one. Looks like the key spot is, right here at this, 520 area. So, and that's a nice looking, and if you can kind of draw, this type of pattern there too. So that one looks good. APHQF looks good. And then let's see. OGRMF. Now this one had a really nice breakout on some good volume. Look at that. Look at the relative volume there. Had almost 500,000, or over 546,000 looks like, and broke out through this key kind of resistance level up way up here, and big volume. So you're starting to see some strength there in this Canadian marijuana stocks. Let's see. There's one called HMMJ, which is the okay, that one doesn't show up. But that's the ETF, if you will, for the Canadian names, HMMJ. So anyway, I like those names. TWMJF, another one. They seem to be showing some nice strength in that sector. So that's a sector to watch. Okay, let's get back to some of the other names. Go through. So here's IPI. This is a fertilizer stock. And here's the pattern, right? It kind of broke out through that pattern, and just looks like it's ready to continue its run. It's been very strong lately. IPI, I think that one can go higher. I think it could test 4 and even break 4 next week. And some of the other names in the sector, POT, Um, AGU is another one, which is a fertilizer name. You can see that one broke out just, pretty nice breakout as well. So IPI I think is a good one to keep an eye on. Some other ones from the watch list. Kang, KANG was a bio, and what I was looking at was this ascending triangle type pattern, kind of like this. But it looks like it failed, right? So they don't all work, and when it failed to break that 1450, it was time to exit the position, and you can see the big volume sell off there. So make sure you always have a stop. Not all patterns work, and you got to make sure you cut it when you're wrong. And so Kang failed there. Okay, HPQ, still really like this HPQ. It's sitting right at this 1950. It failed to go on Friday. I did enter a position with it, and it didn't break. It kept trying to, and then it failed. So I do think this one's going to go. Just Friday wasn't the day for it to go, but I'll keep an eye on it. I think it is going to go. It's a big cap stock, so they're usually slower movers, but the pattern is there on HPQ. It looks like it's going to go. Okay, NVCR. This one had a decent break, kind of pulled back. Here's still getting used to this drawing tool that they have to draw trend lines. But anyway, this one kind of broke out and faded back, so still the chart pattern still looks pretty good, but it looks like it gave back all its gains, so I don't see anything there now. And just while I'm sitting here, this is a good example of how you can take some partial profits on a move like this, and then because then it gives it back, and then you gave back all your profit. That's kind of frustrating, but anyway, that does happen sometimes. Okay, CNTL. So this had a nice. Here was the pattern on this one, and had a nice 2-3 day run there. Nice breakout, kind of giving some of it back, but does look like it's going higher. So CMTL still looks good. Okay, AKBA. AKBA is a bio name. It had this little flag, and you can see how it broke out of that. Right, it's still kind of following this uptrend line like this. So that one still looks like it's going higher. Okay, ADSK. This one kind of pulled back below the 114. Let's see here. Was it 115 was the key level, and looks like it kind of pulled back below that 115. So we'll have to keep monitoring this one. It did have a nice break, but it's giving it back. So slower mover as well. DHI, really like this one. Still really like to look at this one. And what happened is there was a pattern set up, and it sure enough had a nice break that day, and then it kind of pulled back, and now it's just kind of stabilizing where the previous resistance was 37, and now the 37 is support. So this one, if you're looking for a trade for next week, this one looks like a great entry around 37, and I do think this one's going to ramp back up and probably even break the high of this day here. So even 37.89 or whatever the high is right here. I think this one's gonna. This is a perfect example of like a little flag pattern or a pullback to a previous resistance, and it becomes new support. And I can see that one rallying. And just so this pattern here is very similar to what you've seen with HOS, right? Where HOS had a breakout through 3, and then just kind of sat there above 3 for a couple days, and then started to ramp, and then had a really nice run up, right? So you had the break, and then kind of the pullback, kind of stabilized around the breakout, and then continued rallying, and that's exactly what HOS did. So that was a very nice move there on that one on Friday. Okay, APTO, let's see. This one, bio name, got rejected, big rejection there at this 170 spot. So a pivot point or a resistance level can be broken or can act as resistance and then get rejected, which is what happened here. This one does look like it's ramping back up towards that spot, so it may give another trade there into that 170. Maybe it breaks this time, but we'll just see. Maybe it gets rejected too. You never know. But key resistance there at 170. Could be setting up again in the future. Okay, CENT, this is another fertilizer name, kind of like IPI, and it's just creating a nice little spot right around 36. This is what I'm seeing. So CENT, I think this one could break sometime next week. I think it's one to keep an eye on. Alright. BIDU, nice break, Chinese name. A lot of those are running. This was like a flag pattern right here, right? So this one, nice little run up through there. If you're trading it, you know, use 220 to 230. So I'd say 10 points. So 240 would be a target on that one. Okay, BZUN, another Chinese name, and so here was the pattern from the watch list. And it broke out through there, had a nice break. If you're looking for a target, I'd use the low of these kind of candles right in here. So this would be a nice little average. So right in here, say 31 to 35. So 4 to 5 points would be a nice target. Okay, let's see, BTU. BTU still setting up. Had a spot at 30, broke it, and gave it back. So nothing there now. We'll keep an eye on it. Maybe if it sets back up again, perks back up, be one to watch. Let's see, CBMX. Yeah, CBMX, another one, still flagging. You know, keep an eye on it, you know, through this kind of resistance level there. Right now, I don't see anything unless it starts to perk up. ABEO, this one just a huge break. I mean, from the watch list, I'm disappointed that I didn't catch this one. But this is just a great example of a strong biotech breakout and then a flag, right? You have this big move up, and then you have this sideways tight action, tight for multiple days, and then it just gapped up. And you know, I actually could see this thing gapping up, but I was waiting to see if I can get in at a cheaper price because it looked like it was already up 5% on the gap, and then it just kept on running all day. And so just a huge monster break, but that's just a perfect example of a tight flag breakout. And another very similar one to this one is FENG. So FENG is a Chinese name, but you can see you had a big run up, this sideways, you know, tight action, getting this kind of a coiled up action like this, and then it just explodes out of that pattern. And this was another nice flag breakout. So you know, there's always opportunities in the market. It's frustrating when you miss the real nice ones, but still did pretty good lately. But there was a lot of opportunities, and like I said, my full-time job is a little more requires a little more of my time than my previous job, so I can't watch it as often as I would like to. But that's okay. Rig, oil play, once again, seeing the oil names that are setting up again. So this one had a spot, I think around 9, and sure enough it broke it. It looks like it's just kind of holding there in a little tight consolidation. I do think this one's going to go higher too, this rig, along with several of the other, like I said, the oil sector does look strong. RENN, this is a Chinese name, and I still like this one. I think this one's basically consolidating here. You know, you can see it ran up, put in a low, rallied, put in a lower high, a lower low, and then you can see the first higher low here, and then now it looks like it's trying to break out through. The next spot would be 825, and then on to new highs. But I do like the RENN. Okay, we looked at FENG already. Okay, CBK, a retail name. I like this one here. I think it's taken its time, but I do think if it can get through this 155 area, I think this one would be one to watch for a trade. retail sectors is perking up right now. I've seen a lot of those restaurants and retail, which generally I'm not really into, but they seem to be showing some decent patterns. Let's see, one of those is ZOES. So I do like this. This one's been a long-term downtrend, and it kind of broke out on some good volume, and then once again kind of a tight flag pattern, sideways to flat pattern there, and now it's trying to perk up again. So I'd watch this one, you know, right through this area, right up in here. The ZOES, I think this one could have a decent move to 14 or better. ENTL, another bio name, healthcare. It's got a spot at 18, still just kind of consolidating. It's been a couple of months, and just watch the 18 spot. I think that one can go. TESO, just another oil name. See the key spot at right there at the 480-ish, and you can see how that one broke through that, and so now it's just kind of consolidating. But I do think this is, it appears that the oil energy sectors is longer term putting a bottom, and it's starting to head up, so it's a good thing to see. ERF, another oil name, had a spot there at, you know, right there at 920, broke that, kind of gave it back, but still looks like it's going higher. Okay, let's see here. Okay, BGNE, really like the look of this one, and you know, this one broke out on Friday and through this like 80 area, and but it's just still above that. It got even higher, almost to 85 intraday. The big volume, you can see this thing's been kind of consolidating between this range, you know, with a base, let's call it 70, right? So there's your kind of the average base period of this one. So 70 to 80, I give you a 10 point. So this one, if you're going to trade it for a swing, look for a target around 90 on this BGNE. Alright, blue. This is another bio with a similar pattern as some of the other, like ABEO and some of the other ones. And you can see there it's trying to break out of this little flag, right? So keep an eye on this BLUE through this, you know, I think this one could really perk up and make a nice move up. It's showing a nice bull flag pattern there on BLUE. And then Boeing. So once again, nice consolidation, run up. Here's your basing period, then you get a break out of that. So now it's onto new highs, and this one looks like it's roughly a 10-point base. So you can look for a minimum 10-point move from the breakout. And that's about it, guys. Hope you guys had a good weekend. And you know, like I said, my only position now is fold. I think they have some drug news coming up sometime later this month or something, but really like the chart, and so I got a swing position looking for a 14 break. But do my best to get, you know, trade ideas out to you guys every night. It's just keep an eye on the watch list, the main watch list. I try to update that every night as well, so make sure you look at the main watch list. I don't post every chart of all the names in there, but there's still a lot of them that are not on the top 10 or 12 that I send out to you guys. So keep an eye on that main watch list as well. Alright guys, see you guys Monday.